everybody, what is up? My name is Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and together we are TerreDice Games.
And today we've got 8 great games that play in under 20 minutes. So whether you're playing games with someone who doesn't play a lot, or you're just looking to fit in one last game at the end of the night, or maybe a lunchtime game.
Now, not only are these games short, we also made sure that they are super affordable. Some of them are less than $20, but all of them are less than $30. Now, if that sounds like something you want to play, then just keep watching. Love Letter is a game of risk deduction and luck for 2 to 4 players. Your goal is to get your love letter into Princess Annette's hands while deflecting the letters from the competing suitors. On a turn, you draw 1 card and play 1 card, trying to expose others and knock them from the game. Do you have what it takes to win the princess's heart, or at least remove all the rivals? Okay, Love Letter. One thing you're going to notice throughout this list is that lots of these games come in little tiny packages, but that does not take away from how awesome this game is. This game is fast to learn, fast to teach. There's only 21 cards, so setup only takes about like 30 seconds.
Oh yeah. And another thing that's great about this game, so it plays in under 20 minutes, but if for whatever reason you had to bail early, like if you just realize, oh shoot, I gotta go, or everybody's just kind of ready to move on, what's great about this game is that it's played in a series of rounds and you can totally end early. So you could just say basically whoever has the most points at the end of this round wins. So you get that full satisfying feeling even if you don't play the whole game. Now this is Love Letter, which is a great game, totally encourage you getting it. But if you're a Marvel fan, there's also Marvel Infinity Gauntlet Love Letter, which is a totally new take on the game that includes like Spider-Man and Scarlet Witch and totally new mechanics. Looks really cool. I've been looking into getting it as well. We included a link to that in the description below if you're interested.
In Hey That's My Fish, you compete on a chaotic slip and slide iceberg, sliding one of your penguins in a straight line each turn to gather the most fish. When you pick up the fish, the ice sinks. Break off parts of the iceberg to keep the lot for yourself. The game is over when all the fish have been taken or broken away. This is a recommendation of a recommendation. Straight out of the comment section of our video, Top 10 Board Games for Couples, it's Hey That's My Fish.
Or as the dude in the comments calls it, Dude, that's my fish! So this game is great for all ages. It has really awesome fun tactics, but super simple rules. All you do is you slide, you take some fish, and you count them at the end of the game.
Yeah, this game works really well for 2 players, as that comment was saying, but it also plays up to 4 really nicely, and the penguin minis are absolutely adorable. This game has great replayability. Once you finish the game, you're going to set up those iceberg pieces and play again.
That's right, and this is the pocket version of the game, which I think is like the only one that you can get right now, which is great. But one note about this game is it's a little fiddly to set up. So there's a bunch of little hexagons that you gotta like put all the icebergs together, and they're like the size of a nickel, and they bump apart all the time, and when you go to grab them, like a couple of them will get smushed out of the way, but...
Yeah, I would say this game probably has the longest setup time out of everything on this list, which is still very minimal.
Oh yeah. And the more players you have, if they team up, it's really quick. Great game.
In Ticket to Ride, players take turns gathering cards and cashing them in to place their trains, buses, taxis, or wagons on paths between the locations on a map. The players have hidden routes for which they will be awarded points at the end of the game or lose points if they fail to complete them. Each version of Ticket to Ride brings new rules to change up the game.
Now, if you've played Ticket to Ride before, these are Ticket to Ride New York and London. There's also Ticket to Ride Amsterdam, which are these super condensed versions of the game that play in about 10 to 15 minutes. And they really do play that quick. But they give you that full Ticket to Ride experience that we still know and love, and I think that's really awesome.
All of the Ticket to Rides in general are great for the family. We actually talk about it in more detail in the link above, 3 Great Games to the Family, where we talk about that in more detail. But these are great. They are deep thinking games, they're strategy games, and a lot to grow from, and you can also bring younger players into the game. These are also different, and each game adds a slightly different rule that you can follow, so it changes up the game if you have played the base game before.
Yeah, that's right. We have like the, in this one you have the districts, and in this one you have like the tourism locations, and it's got some cool ways you get points that way. Now, no real cons about this game. Honestly, it's a great game. I would say the one thing is they are like a really condensed map, so if you live in New York City and you're looking to find your place on this, and you live like above the 60s or like anywhere other than like downtown Manhattan, you won't find it, so.
I also want to add that if you do suffer from analysis paralysis, this game can run slightly longer than 20 minutes, so just keep that in mind. You do have to make a couple decisions throughout this game. In Onitama, 2 players take turns moving their student and master across the board in this chess-like game, attempting to take the other master or move their master through the gate in the enemy's starting space. Players are given 5 possible moves, which cycle around the board, giving each player 2 options per turn. Move one of your pieces in one of these 2 ways and pass the card toward the other side of the board. The game features 16 cards that are shuffled before 5 are dealt into play.
Onitama is an awesome abstract game that plays a whole lot like chess, but you have a much more simplified set of rules and it plays a lot faster without playing a lot quicker, so you don't have to make a lot of moves really fast. But it's a short, tight strategy game where you're moving and you've got a set of rules that you can move with that round, and it's really great.
Yeah, this game is great for a wide range of players. Whether you've played a lot of chess and you can pick up this game, or if chess is a little intimidating, this is a great game to go with. It also, if you like Onitama and you'd like chess, I'd also suggest looking at another game we really like called Hive. It plays also in about 5 to 20 minutes. I'll link it up above. We talked about it in our Great Board Games for Couples. Definitely go check out Hive. The only con with this game is if you're looking to play chess and you want chess, just go play chess. Now, before we move on with our list, we want to introduce a brand new segment on our channel, Creators Corners, where we shout out a member of the board game community doing some amazing stuff.
That's right, and today we've got YouTubers, bloggers, Instagrammers, that's Kavre, featuring Ilya, Tyler, and their dog Beasley, some of our favorite Canadian pen pals on Instagram.
Now, we asked them what their favorite 20-minute game was, and they said The Crew, which we'll be talking about in a minute, but they also said a close second was Silver and Gold. Now, we can't possibly cover all the board games out there, so if you're itching for more board game content, make sure to go and check those guys out. I'll put links to all their information down below. Now, if you are out there creating board game content and would like to have a shout out on our channel, make sure to tag us at TerreDice Games on Instagram so we can check out what cool stuff you're doing. In the game Blitzkrieg, Axis and allies are back at it again. This time in a tight abstract strategy game where you play out World War II in every theater simultaneously, trying to win campaigns to overall become the most victorious. You will fight air, land, and sea in a tug-of-war with numbered tokens that give added bonuses based on where they are played.
Alright, so Blitzkrieg, this was the inspiration for this video. So World War II in 20 minutes, what a pitch. And you know how games a lot of times will say like 20 minutes to play, and then you play it and it's like 40 minutes? Well, this game really is 20 minutes. I think we played this a bunch of times and it was like 15, 16 minutes like every time.
We timed it, so.
Oh yeah. We wanted to know if it was really World War II in 20 minutes, and it was. But it still is a great strategy game and it has a huge punch.
Now, when we played this game, it really is tight the whole time. You'll be going back and forth, kind of like in a tug of war, trying to win those victory tracks, and you'll be neck and neck until the end.
Yeah, and it has a lot of replayability too. So there's 2 sides, and there's also all of these like upgrade tokens that you get that make your forces a lot stronger. Really, really cool stuff. Now, Blitzkrieg was a successful Kickstarter, but they have a reprint. The Square Edition is releasing any day now, so we'll have a link to that below.
One con with Blitzkrieg is that the art is okay. The drawstring bag, I mean, if you can overlook the fact that it kind of looks like middle school boys' underwear, then you'll really love it. Mr. Jack is a 2-player game where Jack the Ripper is on the loose, disguised as an everyday citizen of London. In this unique pocket edition of its big brother, Mr. Jack, Sherlock Holmes, Watson, and their dog Toby circle the city trying to get Mr. Jack in their line of sight. Once they've narrowed it down to one suspect, they win. If Mr. Jack evades capture long enough, he escapes their grasp and wins the game. Mr. Jack Pocket. Now, you might be familiar with his bigger brothers, Mr. Jack or Mr. Jack in New York. This game has a tighter feel and has entirely new mechanics for a shorter game. And what I've noticed is that Mr. Jack actually has a higher chance of winning than when I've played some of the bigger games. So that actually felt more balanced.
Definitely, and this game also has really, really fast setup. It's like, it's out and it's done in like a minute, but it has that deep, deep strategy, and it's really fun to be Mr. Jack and be trying to hide from the detectives. You get that same feel that you get in the larger game, but in a much smaller package. Now, the art in this game also is not our favorite. The dog looks like he's like a zombie dog from the Thriller set. But
this game is small and compact and works really great for travel. So check out Mr. Jack Pocket. In Pandemic Hot Zone, up to 4 specialists set about North America to stop the spread of a dangerous virus. Sound familiar? This condensed version of Pandemic gives you the full Pandemic experience in a game that can be played under 20 minutes, featuring a new mechanic, crisis cards, and fresh updated components.
Pandemic was the first real board game I played, and it will always be great. Pandemic is a great game, and what we found was that this gave us the same experience in a much smaller box and a way shorter playtime. It's super portable, and it also gives us new mechanics. We have this new crisis card that a couple of them will come out throughout the game and limit how we're able to play. Like, we weren't able to take flights, and we weren't able to have that many cards in our hand. And I thought that that was a really cool twist on the game that gave us something new.
Yeah, and one thing that's really great about this game is it is widely available. You can usually find it at almost every Target within the US. A con about this game, the only con I would say is if you already own the big version of Pandemic, you might not need it.
In The Crew, you play as a team of space explorers, working together to have successful missions in space. Through a loose storyline, you face up to 50 challenges, which all take a spin on a base set of rules in this trick-taking game. It's hard to hear in space, so the goal of the game is to get the right cards into the right player's hands without verbal or otherwise illegal communication.
The Crew, the final game on our list. Now, I really enjoyed this game because of its flexibility. It can be as long or as short as you want it to be, up to 50 rounds, and the game does get shorter and faster as you learn to communicate with the other team players and learn how to play, which I really enjoy.
Now, this game does suffer from quarterbacking problems occasionally, so it's really easy to have one or two players that really coaches or dictates everybody on how they're going to play the rounds. And this game does rely on a lot of silent communication, a lot of like, oh, you played that, so you must have this. And so players really have to get aligned on that strategy. But if there's a few players who aren't really into that and don't really like know what's going on, it can get frustrating if there's somebody who's like trying to lead everybody in a certain way.
Yeah, and I have a really hard time keeping quiet. But overall, The Crew is great to bring out at a party that people are into games. It works well with that, along with some strategy in it, and you can play it really fast. All right, guys, and that is great games in 20 minutes or less. We'd love to know what you think are some great games under 20 minutes so we can check those out, so leave a comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe this video. It really means the world to us and helps us keep going. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy playing!